So review of FRBM Act 2003 in the year 2016. So we'll discuss the report of N.K. Singh committee. So we'll write few factual information, then I'll discuss each and every point. Government set up a committee under N.K. Singh. Government set up a committee under N.K. Singh to review the FRBM Act of 2003. To review the FRBM Act of 2003 because the nature of Indian economy has changed since 2003. First of former CEA, that is Chief Economic Advisor, former Chief Economic Advisor Arvind Subramaniam was also the part of this committee. First off, now you write subheading recommendations of this committee. Recommendations of this committee. So we'll write one by one. So according to this committee, government should reduce the revenue deficit from 2.5% of the GDP to 0.8% of the GDP by the year 2022-23. This was the target. Now you can see the difference between this particular recommendation and the mention clause in the FRBM Act, original FRBM Act of 2003. It means in order to eliminate the revenue deficit, according to this committee, it is very, very difficult. At least in the next 5 years. We'll go for elimination, but only after 2022-23. So you write first recommendation. Government should reduce revenue deficit. Government should reduce the revenue deficit from 2.5% of GDP from 2.5% of GDP to 0.8% of GDP by 2022-23. ठीक है, done. Second recommendation about fiscal deficit. So now the currently fiscal deficit is 3.2%. 17-18. So 3% of GDP is the fiscal deficit in the year 2017-18. Although government was not able to achieve this target, but according to this committee, this 3% government should maintain till the year 2020-21, and thereafter it means from 2021 to 22 and 2022 to 23. Government should maintain fiscal deficit at 2.5% of GDP. So you write this point. Government should reduce the fiscal deficit in a gradual manner. So you write first, write in the next line. It should maintain 3% of fiscal deficit. After full stop, you write it should maintain 3% of fiscal deficit for next 3 years, it means from 2017-18 to 2020-21. Then for the next 2 years, you write for the next 2 years, government should reduce fiscal deficit to 2.5%. ठीक है. So another change is gradual reduction in the fiscal deficit. So there are no rigid targets. Getting my point? Third point. Do you know what is the meaning of outstanding debt? Outstanding debt means the debt compiled from the past loans as well. Suppose you have taken a loan during economic reforms, but still you are paying interest for that. That is what we call outstanding loans. These are outstanding still at the present time. Getting my point? So all the outstanding debt is the deficit, whatever the amount of debt government is. Debt means, you understand? क्या होता है? हाँ, उधार हो गया, कर्ज हो गया. These are debt. ठीक है. So under obligation to repay. So according to this particular committee, government should reduce the outstanding debt of Government of India. So we'll write this. Government should reduce the outstanding debt from 71% of GDP to 60% of GDP. To 60% of GDP by the year, yes please, by the year 2022-23. Now under this there is certain division, like 49% of this belongs to central government and 21% of this belongs to state government. And in this 60, this committee recommended that central government should have 40% and state government should, combined state government debt should be 20%. This is the exact division. So we write this. Currently central government is having 49% of outstanding debt, having 49% of outstanding debt. In bracket you write target is 40%. And 21, and states are having, you write states are having 21% of outstanding debt. In bracket you write target is 20%. These numbers are very, very important. Like the year 2022-23, the target of revenue deficit 0.8%, the target of fiscal deficit कितना है 2.5%, and the target of outstanding debt 60%. Very, very important. And these divisions are, they can also ask. ठीक है. So major work is from central government side, 49 to 40. So it's very difficult to reduce. Now this committee gave also one important thing by discussing this particular point. He said, it means N.K. Singh committee said that outstanding debt is the most important thing, because whenever credit rating agencies are judging India, they do not judge on the basis of fiscal deficit. Why this government is focusing more on fiscal deficit? They generally see the data of outstanding debt while they are making some kind of rating to India. So ये line लिख लेते हैं. According to this committee, outstanding debt is the most important. Outstanding debt is the most important factor behind the ratings given by credit rating agencies. Credit rating agencies. Any doubt? Fourth point.
Fiscal deficit is only 4% and very small percent, but this outstanding debt is 71% of GDP. How is it?
Fiscal deficit is the deficit of the budget. Fiscal deficit is just to bridge the gap between expenditure and revenue. Outstanding debt means past loans, principal amount as well as interest. So obviously this will come high.
How government is going to pay this much of debt?
Obviously gradually, not in a one day. These loans are compiled. Few loans government is still paying that India borrowed at the time of industrial policy 1956. बहुत हालत है. Do you know that which country is having the highest amount of outstanding debt in the world? US. US को क्या जरूरत पड़ेगी? You can't imagine. Challenge है मेरा. Highest amount of Japan, right? 226% of GDP. 226% of GDP is the amount of outstanding debt that Japan is having. मतलब पूरा 2 बार जापान बिक जाए उसके बाद भी डेट रह जाएगी. That's the amount of outstanding debt they are having. Other countries, if you remember this division, PIGS countries: Portugal, Italy, Ireland, Greece, and Spain. Southern European countries struggling with the problem of sovereign debt crisis in the year 2011, popularly known as Eurozone crisis. So you remember that in 2015, Greek economy failed they defaulted on the IMF loan. It's a shame actually if you default on a multinational institutions loan. India is very, very efficient in giving loans to these, giving back these amount of loans to these multilateral institutions. Like till the year 2002, India was the net borrower from IDA, International Development Association, an arm of World Bank Group. There are 5 organizations comes under World Bank Group. So IDA provides soft loans. Soft loans means at low interest rate for long tenure. Now after 2002, India becomes net giver. It means now India provides funds to IDA so that IDA can able to give loans to other developing countries. So that's a proud moment for our country. Since 1991, it means in just 10 years, from the net borrower to net lender. So Japan is having, but Japan obviously will not default because of biggest ally, United States of America. So they will surely not default on their outstanding debt.
Japan is making so much investment in other countries, so they must be.
That's why, obviously.
Why they are not paying their outstanding debt so much?
What is the benefit in paying back these kind of debts? No benefit. If you are having fund, you just 10% go to their outstanding debt. 90% you use for other purposes. Japanese economy is struggling with a lot of problems. Number 1 is human resource. Second one is land shortage. These 2 are the most important thing. Okay? Escape clause. They don't have their standing army, you know. US protects Japan.
Peace constitution.
Or if you remember 1945 bomb blast after Second World War, see the differences. तो इन फ्यूचर ऐसा भी हो सकता है आप बुलेट लेके अमृतसर से निकले सीधे लाहौर, कुछ भी हो सकता है ना. इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान कैन बिकम फ्रेंड्स. Only atom bomb in the history of the world on Japan. Now Japan is the biggest ally of America. ऐसा क्या हो गया 70 साल में?
सर वो छोड़िए ना, ब्रिटेन और फ्रांस. ब्रिटेन और फ्रांस तो सालों साल लड़े, लेकिन अब तो ट्रेन जाती है उसमें.
तो ट्रेड तो वो पहले भी करते थे.
ट्रेन भी जाती है ना.
ट्रेन तो अपने आप ही जाती है ना, समझौता एक्सप्रेस. आपको पता है कि 1 लाख अराउंड पीपल रिसीव्स मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट इन दिल्ली कमिंग फ्रॉम पाकिस्तान. उनको वीज़ा अर्जेंट बेसिस पे दिया जाता है. दिल्ली में आते हैं हर बार. एक बार मेरे पास अपॉर्चुनिटी थी लाहौर जाने की. पाकिस्तान से टीम आई थी चंडीगढ़ में. आई वाज टॉकिंग अबाउट, तो वो बता रहे थे मुझे अर्जेंट बेसिस पे वीज़ा देती है इंडियन गवर्नमेंट. हेल्थ इशू है तो दिल्ली में आके एम्स में इलाज कराते हैं. एट द सेम टाइम 1 लाख पाकिस्तानीज आर इन इंडिया फॉर मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट. Not in Delhi. Delhi में 50,000 हैं all over. ठीक. Fourth point is escape clause. So first we'll understand escape clause. What do you understand by? It means if any unforeseen circumstances occur, then Government of India allowed by this encasing committee to escape from that target. Suppose for example 3% is the target to maintain fiscal deficit, but due to certain natural disasters or ongoing economic crisis, then this committee will give liberty that government can move towards 3.5% of GDP as a fiscal deficit or 2.5% of GDP of fiscal deficit. It means 0.5% of movability on either side. Obviously इधर से तो जाएगी नहीं, so they will go this side only. So you write this. This committee also mentioned about escape clause. This committee also mentioned about escape clause, under which government of India allowed to deviate from its target by 0.5% of fiscal deficit and revenue deficit in case of any unforeseen circumstances such as expenditure on mitigating natural disasters, and global economic crisis ठीक है. Suppose for example what happened in America in 2008. So by taking lessons from the subprime crisis, this committee also kept in mind that there must be some requirement of escape clause. So this makes this recommendation flexible. That's what missing in FRBM Act 2003. Getting my point? Now the fifth point, there are factual points, so we'll write only this fifth point. You write, this committee recommended that government should set up fiscal council. Government should set up fiscal council to have a constant review of these targets. ठीक है. Next point, there must be coordination between fiscal and monetary policy. There should be coordination between fiscal policy and monetary policy. That should go hand in hand. That should go hand in hand. Okay, so now you understand why we want fiscal policy and monetary policy to go together. Because if you think that, you remember the term called expansionary, contractionary fiscal and monetary policy. In expansionary fiscal policy, what does it mean? You are reducing or increasing the taxes? Reducing the taxes. Because in expansionary fiscal policy, if you reduce the tax, it means people will get more purchasing power and they will spend in the economy. That is what we call expansionary fiscal policy. Expansionary monetary policy means
Reducing the repo rate.
reducing interest rate, key policy rates. If you reduce the key policy rates, that will, loans will be available at a cheaper rate. People will borrow more and invest in the economy. Suppose, for example, Government of India, that is mainly Ministry of Finance, adopted expansionary fiscal policy. And on the other hand, monetary policy adopted by MPC is contractionary. It means they are reducing tax so that they will earn or they will spend in the economy. They are reducing tax. But here, RBI is increasing the interest rate, making loans dearer. Obviously, that will not serve the purpose. So that should go hand in hand. Simple example of European Union, because European Union is having one monetary policy found by European Central Bank, but there are different fiscal policies. मैं आपको शायद पहले भी बताया, different fiscal policy, because every country is having their own tax policy in European Union. So 19 countries are the part of Euro, because 19 countries are having Euro as their currency among 28 members in European Union. So 19 countries are having Euro. So it means 19 different fiscal policy with one monetary policy. So it is very difficult to go hand in hand. There are countries like Greece that are struggling with other problems. There are strong countries like Germany. How can you make same monetary policy for these two countries? Any moment? That is why this is the most important point given by N.K. Singh Committee. Next point, last point. FRBM Act should be renamed as Debt Management and Fiscal Responsibility Act. Debt Management and Fiscal Responsibility Act. Debt Management and Fiscal Responsibility Act. So this completes our discussion of the second part of fiscal policy, borrowing. Now we are moving to third head. What was that? Government expenditure. So write the heading, government expenditure. If you have any doubt, you can ask.
Mandatory for the government